Stephen, when I was growing up watching Irish League football in the 90s, every Irish League team had a car full of former League of Ireland players coming up from Dublin in the car every Saturday morning. It feels like we're going back to that time. I mean, I'm sure they're not driving up on Saturday mornings anymore the way they used to back 30 years ago. But it seems like we're getting a lot of cross-border transfers during this transfer window.
Yeah, the cross-border trade in Irish football is thriving right now, isn't it? You're right, when you look back at the 90s, I suppose the two biggest hitters were Desi Gorman and Pat Fenlon. What an impact they had for Linfield Football Club. Also, Portadown brought quite a few up, and Crusaders under Roy Walker. He, of course, led the Cruise to 2 league titles, and he always said the guys from down south played a major part in that. But yeah, there's been quite a few really, really astute signings made by Irish League clubs in this window, and in particular bringing players from the League of Ireland. We have to mention one of the latest ones, Aaron McEneff
Super signing.
From Shamrock Rovers. I imagine Declan Devine was in his best persuasive chatting mode whenever he was speaking to Aaron, but that's brilliant for them because he comes with a big reputation, obviously, but he's 30. It's not like he's 35 and he's coming for one last payday. I imagine Aaron will be wanting to make a huge impression at Glentoran, and it didn't escape my notice that Declan Devine labelled it a statement signing. When a manager labels someone as a statement signing, he's expecting big things from that particular player, and McEneff has got quality. He's won titles at Shamrock Rovers, he's won cups at Shamrock Rovers. He is a type of player who can make a difference in the team, and I can't wait to see how he performs for the Glens. Another one that I was really impressed by was Mark Coyle. Mark Coyle was the Shelburne captain whenever they surprised everyone by winning the League of Ireland, and now he's at Coleraine. Mark Coyle was one of the most significant players in the League of Ireland over the past few years, and now he's with the Bandsiders. So Rory Higgins has obviously done a great job selling the club as well. Listen, I'm not naive enough to think that they're not coming for pittance here. You know, they're not going to play for free. So these guys are coming up and they are going to be on good wages, outstanding wages. They'll be amongst, if not the best paid players in the Irish League. So they'll want, both Glentoran and Coleraine will want some performances for the cash that they have put out there. But definitely McEneff and Coyle certainly have the quality to deliver for both those sides.
Do you think we should be worried in a broad sense about Irish League football and the direction it's going in terms of the amount of money that's being spent? Because it's not just, I mean, we've talked about big name signs at Glentoran, big name signs at Coleraine. It's not just those two clubs. It's still even some of the part-time clubs. You know, look at the Carrick Rangers team that just won the County Ireland Shield. It's packed full of experienced, well-known players. Ballymena United have still a part-time club, but you know the signings they've made even in this January transfer window. There's clearly a lot of money being spent across the board. Should we be worried?
The money is at its highest, and good point about Ballymena. Sean Murray coming in there could be an inspired signing from Oran Kearney. I really like Murray. Listen, the money is swirling about like crazy in the Irish League. But listen, let's be honest. We talked about the 90s with Gorman and Fenlon. They were on a pretty penny back in the day for Linfield. And Gary Haylock, famously, and to be fair to Gary, he was always honest about this, he was on £1,000 a week. Excuse me. In fact, I remember the last time I spoke to Gary and I said to him, Gary, okay, it is true that you were in £1,000 a week. And he says, yeah, well, Stephen, I like people to think that because on occasions I was actually on mower. So the money was flying about the Irish League back then as well. It's just a bit more pronounced now because so many of the teams are paying out these big wages. There are part-time players now on around 1,300 to 1,500 quid a week. And then the full-time players, you can go a bit higher than that. So as long as these clubs can sustain it, and obviously there's a worry about that, but they want to bring the best of the best that they can bring to the Irish League. So that's what they're trying to do. And if you're going to do that, you're going to have to pay for it, Keith. Simple as that.
Who do you think has had the best window so far in terms of the 12 Premiership clubs? There's been a lot of business. Linfield have had maybe a slower window, but they've brought in a couple as well. Is there one team that you pick out as having had who's won the transfer window?
Well, at this point, I would probably say Glentoran. You mentioned Linfield there. They've brought in Dara Leahy and they've brought in Adam Frizzell. I imagine they'll be bringing in more. Um, uh, Coleraine have had a good window because Mark Connolly's a good player. They've brought him in from Derry, and obviously we've mentioned Coyle, who I rate enormously. I think Larne aren't finished. They've brought in Ronan Docherty, which a lot of people eyebrows have been raised with that, with a title chasing club selling to another title chasing club. But obviously Coleraine had their own reasons for that. But Docherty is a decent player. It was interesting he went straight into the Larne team. Um, uh, I would also say though that there's been a few moves away that have obviously weakened teams, like Oran Casey leaving Cliftonville for Shelburne. That was a major blow for
Well, it wasn't helped by the
Cliftonville.
fact that Jack Keeney left the week after, so they
Yeah,
lost two centre backs. They brought
yeah,
in Cal McClelland on loan from Glenavon, which,
yeah.
you know, Cal's experience played for, was at Rangers and Hibs and whatnot, but it feels like they've had a drop in quality there in the defensive area.
Yeah, well, any team that would lose a player of Casey's ability, they're losing real, genuine star quality. So I think it's that's going to be tough for them. And Dungannon have lost Junior. He's away to the Middle East. That's a bit of a blow as well because the hope was he would stay there to the end of the season. But if you look at Glentoran, so they've brought in Jarlath O'Rourke, who I'm a big admirer of. I think Jarlath's a really consistent performer. Ross Clark, knows the Irish League inside out.
He's so much fun to watch when he's
Yeah,
on top form.
yeah. Do you know what Ross Clark does? He glides across the pitch.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Quite difficult at the Oval at the moment.
Yeah, get the armbands out, Ross.
Yeah.
You'll be swimming in that. Jack Malone, who I think's got a good future. Ben Gallagher, but the icing on the cake. Aaron McEneff, it's funny. I did an interview with Luke McCulloch for the Sunday Life last week, and I spoke to Luke about his time at Glentoran. And Glentoran have brought in an absolute ocean of players to keep the water theme going for the Oval over the past 6 years or whatever it is since Ali Poor came on board. And at the time, Luke McCulloch, when he came in, was billed as the last piece in the jigsaw. And Luke, modest humility, it was rolling out of him, and he says, I think there was about 10 last pieces of the jigsaw brought in there. And he said Shane McCartan was obviously another one. Aaron McEneff has got that kind of feel as a last piece in the jigsaw. Whether he will find the solution to the puzzle that has been going on at Glentoran for some time to finally bring a league title to the Oval, we shall see. But definitely quality signing, Keith. And you got to congratulate Glentoran on what I think has been a really impressive window.
If you had to pick one deal, what's been your deal of the January transfer window so far? I've got one, but I'll let you go first.
I'm going to go with Mark Coyle from going from Shelburne to Coleraine, purely because I think he's a very influential character. And at this point in time, Coleraine need winners in that dressing room. Their ultimate aim, Keith, is to become champions under Rory Higgins. Now, they have a few players who have won titles, i.e. Joel Cooper being the key one, but they don't have enough. And Mark Coyle knows the way to win a league title. He knows about doing it against the odds, and I think he's going to bring real strength and presence to that dressing room. I'm not saying they're going to win it this season, but I think having the likes of him and Cooper and maybe a few more arriving in the summer, I think that could mean Coleraine are going to be really, really strong next season and could be champions.
I'm going to go with, you know me, I like to pick one that's not the very obvious one. So I'm going to go for Brian Haley at Cliftonville.
Yeah.
He was superb at the Welders, and I know there's a big gap between the Championship and the Premiership, but it's been really exciting to see the way that his game has developed over the last couple of years in the Championship, because he wasn't really a striker when he was at Newry City. He ended up out on loan at Ballyclare Comrades. The Welders turned him into a centre forward, scoring for fun. He's got so much ability. He's big and strong now. He's really filled out in the last couple of years. He's alright. He scored a couple of goals. I think he could do really, really well for Cliftonville. But the transfer window's not shut yet. It's open until Monday night. Do we think there'll be any more deals before now and on Monday?
There could be one absolute belter.
Oh, go on.
One absolute belter. Listen, I'm not going to say it just now because it may never happen. But if it does happen, it will have a really huge burn in the title race. And it could see one team over the line. And there'll be other transfers as well. Obviously, clubs want to bring in players just to strengthen the pack for the running, because not only do we have a title race on our hands, but we have teams who want to get into Europe, and there are teams who want to avoid relegation. I think it's been a really eventful transfer window already, and if there were no more transfers, I'd have thought, yeah, that was a good one. But there will definitely be more signings. What is this? We're recording this midweek.
Yep.
So expect more signings for various clubs. If the deal that happens that I'm thinking about comes through, there'll be a lot of happy people at one particular football club.
We'll keep an eye on the Belfast Telegraph website, where we will update you as we go, and no doubt I will be doing the deadline day transfer live blog.
Good luck.
We've got that to look forward to.